Welcome to the Chatham-Kent Cardiac Rehabilitation and Secondary Prevention Program, Heart Healthy Nutrition, presented by Jacqueline McAdams, Registered Dietitian for the Cardiac Rehab Program. Nutrition is an important part of cardiac rehab because the foods we eat and our diet patterns can impact our risk of cardiovascular disease. In the Cardiac Rehab Program, you will have the opportunity to participate in individual nutrition counseling with a registered dietitian, and you'll also have the chance to attend the Healthier Living group nutrition presentation. Today's presentation will provide a short overview of heart healthy nutrition. Nutrition changes can provide benefits, including the following. They can help with lowering LDL cholesterol and triglycerides. Nutrition can help with managing weight and waist circumference. And nutrition can help with controlling blood pressure and blood sugar levels. In cardiac rehab, you will learn about some of the important components in your lab work. We will discuss the different types of cholesterol, a fat called triglycerides, hemoglobin A1C, and blood pressure. We will also review the targets for these values. Certain values, such as LDL cholesterol and triglycerides, often need to be decreased. Other values, such as HDL cholesterol, often need to be increased. Medication and diet changes can help to reach the blood value targets and to decrease your risk of cardiovascular disease. The Heart Healthy Eating Plan. According to the Canadian Cardiovascular Society and the Canadian Guidelines for Cardiac Rehabilitation, there's evidence that certain foods and certain dietary patterns can help with the management and prevention of cardiovascular disease. So therefore, the Heart Healthy Eating Plan includes having fish twice per week, where a serving of fish is equivalent to 150 grams. Next is the incorporation of lots of vegetables and fruits, so having 5 or more servings per day, where one serving is equal to 1 cup of leafy vegetables, or half a cup of either raw or cooked fruits or vegetables. Heart Healthy Eating also incorporates nuts on a daily basis, where a serving of nuts is a 1/4 cup or 30 grams. Heart Healthy Eating is also a diet pattern that is rich in high fiber foods. So examples of high fiber foods include whole grains, legumes, and pulses. Since fiber is such an important part of heart healthy eating, it's recommended to have between 25 and 35 grams of fiber each day. In our food, there are 2 types of fiber. One is called insoluble fiber, and the other is called soluble fiber. It's this type, the soluble fiber, that helps to lower the LDL cholesterol. Some foods have a higher soluble fiber content than others. So including vegetables such as the dark green and the orange vegetables can help you to increase your soluble fiber intake. The ones that are particularly good are broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, sweet potatoes, and carrots. We can also get soluble fiber from certain grains and seeds. So choosing foods like having oats, quinoa, barley, ground flax, psyllium, or chia seeds can also increase our fiber intake. Legumes are a very good source of soluble fiber. So some of the highest ones would be black beans, but we also get soluble fiber from things like kidney beans, brown beans, lentils, chickpeas, and roasted soy nuts. If you're looking for fruits that have high soluble fiber amounts, choose things like apples, oranges, avocados, blueberries, prunes, and apricots in order to increase your soluble fiber intake. So as we can see, the Heart Healthy Eating Plan includes having lots of vegetables and fruits, legumes, and whole grains in order to increase our fiber intake. We also want to be more selective when it comes to our protein foods. So this means choosing cuts of meat like beef, pork, poultry, or fish that is nice and lean, and removing any visible fat from the meat, such as the skin. We also want to include healthier cooking methods and avoid deep fried foods. For lean protein sources, we want to limit the amount of deli meats that we eat because deli meat tends to have a lot of additional fat, sodium, and other things like nitrites. So instead, choosing the lean roast beef, ham, chicken, or turkey. Having legumes in our diet not only helps us to increase our fiber intake, it also is a source of plant-based protein. So having foods like kidney beans, soybeans, chickpeas, and lentils also adds protein to our diet. We also get protein from egg whites and certain soy foods like tofu, soy milk, and soy nuts. For heart-healthy eating, we are also trying to change the types of fats that we have in our foods. So we want to include less saturated fat in our diet and eliminate trans fat if we can. Instead, we're going to substitute these with more unsaturated fats and oils. So unsaturated oils are those that come from olive, avocado, canola, peanut, safflower, soybean, and sunflower. And these can be used when cooking or when having additional fats such as salad dressings. We also get unsaturated fat from other foods such as fish and unsalted nuts or seeds. In Cardiac Rehab, we will discuss how to read food labels to make healthy choices when we are choosing our foods. We will also discuss the nutrients that are found on food labels, the ingredient lists, and how to interpret the percent daily value and serving sizes. One of the first steps that you can do when you are reading the nutrition facts table is to look for foods that have 0 trans fat. Next step that you can do is to look for the sodium content on the nutrition label. If you see a food that has greater than 15% of the daily value for sodium, this is quite high. So it's recommended that you try to look for a different product, different food that would have less sodium in it. Food is made up of a combination of different nutrients. One of the nutrients, fat, is found in different forms in our food. We can see on the nutrition facts table that they will list the number of grams of fat in a given serving size. The first number is the total amount of fat. Next, we can see that there are different types of fat, including saturated and trans fat. The ones that don't necessarily appear on a nutrition facts table are monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats like omega-3 and omega-6. Another nutrient that's listed on the nutrition facts table is the cholesterol. The different types of fats and the cholesterol that we find in the food can have an impact on our blood values for LDL, HDL, total cholesterol, and triglycerides. For example, when we eat foods that are rich in monounsaturated fats, this can help to lower the LDL cholesterol in your blood. So including foods like olive oil, nuts, fish, and avocado can help us to get more monounsaturated fats, which can help to bring down the LDL cholesterol. Other oils like grapeseed, canola, peanut, corn, safflower, almond, hemp seed oil, and avocado oil are also good sources of monounsaturated fats. Omega-3 fat is very beneficial when it comes to lowering the LDL cholesterol and also the triglycerides that are in our blood. This is why it's recommended to have 2 servings of fish per week for heart-healthy diet. Some of the fish, like salmon, mackerel, anchovies, herring, Arctic char, and trout, are some of the highest for omega-3. Other fish, like tuna, cod, sole, perch, and pickerel, do have some omega-3, but in smaller amounts. On the positive side, these fish do, however, have the good monounsaturated fat that can help to bring down the LDL cholesterol. If you don't enjoy eating fish, you can always get omega-3 from different types of foods like walnuts, omega-3 eggs, soybeans or edamame, soy milk, ground flaxseed and flax milk, hemp seeds, chia seeds, wheat germ cereals, soy nuts, canola oil, or hickory nuts. Heart-healthy eating involves lowering the amount of saturated fat in our diet. This is because foods high in saturated fat have the potential to increase our HDL and our LDL cholesterol. Some of the foods that have a lot of saturated fat include red meat, poultry skin, butter, egg yolks, baked goods, lard, full-fat dairy products, and certain tropical oils like coconut, palm oil, or palm kernel oil. In order to decrease the amount of saturated fat in our diet, it's best to choose foods that are grilled, roasted, or poached instead of deep frying foods. Also, when looking at the nutrition facts table, find foods that have lower numbers for the saturated fat. If you are adding butter or cheese to your foods, try flavoring them with certain things like garlic, lemon, vinegar, herbs, and spices in order to cut back on the saturated fat. So heart-healthy eating involves incorporating more fiber-rich foods and changing the types of fats that we're consuming. We also want to make some efforts to try to lower our sugar intake. One strategy we can do is to have a look at our beverage choices. We want to choose water more often and have less pop or sweetened coffee or tea. This will help to lower our sugar intake. Also, watching the amount of ultra-processed foods, candies, sweets, and desserts can help to lower sugar. Heart-healthy eating also involves cutting back on the amount of sodium in our diet. So to do that, it's recommended to eat less processed foods and less fast foods. By cooking at home more often, you have the ability to determine how much salt is added to your foods. When grocery shopping, it's best to look for canned foods and packaged foods that are reduced sodium or no salt added. In particular, you want to watch foods like sauce, gravy, soup, and vegetables, and try to find lower sodium options. As was previously mentioned, we want to try to reduce the amount of deli meats that we have in our diet because these tend to be very high in sodium, as well as watching how much cheese and extra snack foods like chips that we're having. All these things can help to lower the amount of sodium that we have. Finally, for heart-healthy eating, we want to monitor how much caffeine and alcohol intake we have and try to reduce these as much as possible. Everyone comes into cardiac rehab at different starting points, and for some people it can be difficult to make changes to their lifestyle and their diet patterns. We know that being consistent in making changes is one of the most important factors, but for some people being consistent can be difficult for many reasons. For some, it might be the high cost of food, or for other people, it might be food allergies or intolerances or digestive concerns that make it difficult to make diet changes. Some people face barriers when it comes to healthy eating, such as a lack of time or lack of motivation to cook or prepare foods. For others, it might be family preferences or cultural differences that can make healthy eating difficult. Most people coming into cardiac rehab have other health conditions and health concerns, and for many people we have to take this into consideration when we're coming up with a diet plan. This is where working with a dietitian on a one-on-one basis can be beneficial because we can take into consideration your specific goals and your health conditions in order to make changes to achieve the best outcomes in the long term. And this is one of the most important factors for cardiac rehab. In 2019, Health Canada released a new updated version of Canada's food guide. We can see here in the image on the left that the new food guide is based on a healthy plate model, where half of our plate is full of vegetables or fruits, About a quarter is protein-rich foods, and the other quarter is whole grain foods. We also want to make water our beverage of choice. One of the differences in the new food guide is that it emphasizes that healthy eating is more than about the type of food that we're eating. It's also about being mindful of our eating habits, trying to make efforts to cook more often so we're relying less on fast food and processed foods, taking the time to enjoy our foods, and when possible, trying to eat our meals with others. Healthy eating also involves looking at nutrition food labels to try to make healthier choices so that we can try to limit our intake of sodium, added sugar, and saturated fats. To see the full food guide, refer to Health Canada's website at www.canada.ca/foodguide. For more nutrition resources, refer to unlockfood.ca. This is a website that's brought to you by the Dietitians of Canada. At unlockfood.ca, you will find nutrition information that is reliable and evidence-based. For additional recipes that are heart healthy, and for general information on cardiovascular disease, refer to the Heart and Stroke website at www.heartandstroke.ca. For specific examples of meal plans that are heart healthy, refer to information on the Mediterranean diet, the DASH diet, which stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, Portfolio diet, or the Low Glycemic Index diet. These are examples of meal plans and diets that have enough evidence to show benefits in terms of cardiovascular disease and cardiovascular outcomes. As always, before starting any diet, please consult with your healthcare provider or meet with the dietitian for Cardiac Rehab to come up with a nutrition plan for you. Thank you for watching the Cardiac Rehab Introduction to Heart Healthy Nutrition video. We hope that you will join us for the other Healthier Living presentations, including the extended 2-hour Cardiac Rehab Nutrition group class that's offered at the Chatham-Kent Community Health Centers. You can also check out other videos that are found on our YouTube channel. If you have further questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact us at the Chatham-Kent Community Health Centers at 519-397-5455 or refer to our website at www.ckchc.ca.